I'm putting them on. Let's get ready to go. We're talking the city of Lowell. Hey everyone, my name is Matt Swerk. If you've been to the channel, you know I'm a local real estate expert right here in Massachusetts with the Legacy Star team powered by Keller Williams. If this is the first time here, welcome. We talk everything about Massachusetts, sometimes New England as well. We have so much fun making these videos, everything to do with living, eating, sleeping, playing. Today we're talking about some of the pros and cons about Lowell. You have questions, we have answers. Just reach out to us any way you find necessary. When it comes to Massachusetts, just remember, we've always got your back. I think that when we talk about Lowell, the biggest thing we have to talk about, the biggest pro that it has, besides all the boxing guys, but bad dad joke, I'd have to say one of the biggest pros is got to be the culture, right? It does not lack culture. It does not lack variety by any means. There's so many things. There's so many different cultures, Cambodian, Mexican, Puerto Rican, Dominican. I mean, we could just go on and on and on and let the list run. And because of the different cultures that come, there's all different types of great festivals. We could be here for making an entire video on all the different festivals that I have there. You have professional boxers and semi-pro boxers that come from the area. Great Cambodian ensembles that play concerts, throughout the year. All kinds of, like I said, special events and all the festivals. We love the Lowell Folk Fest. That is so much fun. Exactly what it seems. It's a folk festival. You can just spend hours maneuvering through all the booths and listening to some great music. So, it attracts tens of thousands of people from Massachusetts and the surrounding areas. So it's definitely a great place as far as looking to get some culture. And, like we said, you're not going to miss that at all when you come to Lowell. One of the things that we were laughing about was talking about some of the cons, right? I think that most videos we talk about is traffic, right? And that there's a... We're talking about there's bad traffic all through Massachusetts, and we are an expanding city. We're an expanding area, just like everywhere else. So we have our challenges, and the driving through Boston's a little bit different from the driving in Lowell, and you have a lot of. What's maddening about a lot of the smaller cities compared to Boston. Is that you have the inner city traffic, you have traffic getting in and out of there. And what's interesting about Lowell is that there's a lot of waterways that you have to pass over to get across the city. The Merrimack River, right? Like you stop for a couple places, it's beautiful, right? So you can admire the scenery. However, if you don't pay attention, you're going to be admiring the person right in front of you with their taillights. So, and we have mandatory insurance here, so go ahead and take a look, but just be careful of those brakes, right? So most of the aggravation, I would say, comes in getting over those bridges and maneuvering that way. You hear people talk, one of the roads called the Lowell Connector. It's not that bad, right? And you'd have to Google, Lowell Connector to see what people are saying about it. But it's really the travel throughout the city that drives people maddening, right? We did a video on Quincy not too long ago, and same thing. Well, not the same thing. That city is under construction. Like everywhere you go, there's construction, so that's causing major delays. Where I used to be able to travel the city, in 10 to 15 minutes, it's taking like a half hour. So you definitely want to look out for the Rourke Bridge, right? Like that's the one people want to stay away from. It's been causing traffic jams forever, and everyone's don't worry, it's going to get fixed, and it hasn't been fixed yet. So and that's not my. I'm not going to get too deep into that. I'm not going to attack the city of Lowell. We're going to make a couple of things on this video that we might get some, hey, I can't believe you guys said that, but we're going to tread lightly. Some names have been changed to protect the innocent, and we're not going to call anyone out. But we had some extensive research on this video and getting out to the streets and talking to some people about this. So it's not only our opinion, it's some of the other opinions, but everyone has an opinion. So I think the traffic, driving in traffic can be a little maddening. Going back to the other side, right, as far as one of the big pros, when we talk about culture, naturally what falls into place with culture? Food, right? And so, you name it, you're going to find it, from Puerto Rican, Mexican, Egyptian, Greek. There's all types of fusion. There's great ramen, Vietnamese. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. I went to a great Italian sub shop the other night. That was cool. So, I mean, there's a plethora. Being in the city, there's a plethora of places to go eat. We'll kind of pinpoint a couple places that we like. Now, the list goes on and on and on, so you definitely want to use the Google machine, right? I said that intentionally. So my kids will be like, Dad, I can't believe you said that. So you're going to want to Google some of the restaurants, just to kind of figure out what you like. But we like Pho 88 is great. They have an Egyptian food truck. Tacos Lapidus. Tyler loves that place. You have 1981 Ramen Bar. Simply Kamai is another great place. I mean, the list goes on and on. So like I said, definitely Google great restaurants or just restaurants in Lowell, and the list is up there. And make sure you go to the second, third, fourth page. Don't just look at the first three like I typically do. All right, this one. All right, here we go. We might get in some trouble for this one, but we think that we look at Lowell as far as one of the cons. The city has struggled, right? And there, in the past, Lowell had a very poor reputation. I'm not going to get into some of the stigmas about that because I think we'll get some bad mail around that. But just think about, a city that kind of maybe lets go a little bit, and what happens, right? You can pick any city across the country, and you'll see that happening. So there's been a very blatant homeless problem there. There's certain neighborhoods that are really troublesome over others. There's one called the Jam. We're just going to leave that out there, and we're not going to say anything about that. And so a lot of neighborhoods have been gentrified, which seems to be, kind of that solution, but it doesn't really, all that really does is distract from the real root problem there as far as homelessness, and people that are struggling, to survive in the world. So, and especially what we've gone through, this past year and a half or however long this has gone. So, the city has struggled a little bit there, and, they are working to make things better, and I'm going to stop there because I'm going to start going on a personal thing and be like, don't say that. And we don't want Tyler to be cutting all these things out of the video, being like, oh my gosh, Matt said that. All right, so let's talk another pro about Lowell, right? Education. So there's some great colleges there. UMass Lowell, Middlesex Community College. So those will stand out there. But we got to go back a little bit to the lower education. According to greatschools.org, they have rated, and what their scores are rated on. There's 3 KPIs, key performance indicators they focus on. So test scores, equity, and student progress. Right now, most of the elementary schools and middle schools score above average. There are some that score below, and then the high school, Lowell High is below on those 3 metrics. So, as far as going back to what I was saying, as far as higher education, there is great value as far as UMass Lowell and Middlesex Community College. So they've been really turning their attention on education as far as the increasing levels, and then increasing funding towards there as well, really to help improve the reputation and the outcome. So we got to give it to them. It's just like a lot of cities that have some challenges. They are working diligently, looking to turn that ship in the right direction. The last thing we're going to talk about is some of the cons to the last con we're going to talk about is businesses in Lowell, and this is where we have to be very careful about what we say here. So we have a lot of team members that are very familiar with Lowell, lived in Lowell. We have family that grew up in Lowell, so we can speak from personal experience on this one. We are 100% getting on our our soapbox, and this is personal opinion. I think one of the things that's difficult to see is that there's a lot of restaurants and shops that have a quick turnover. Talking to Tyler when I pulled up here, and we're trying to figure out where each other were, and I said, hey, I'm right in front of the Lowell Burger Company, and all of a sudden he's like, don't say that. And I said, why, where are you? And he goes, I'm right down the street. And then we heard the story of that was one of Tyler's favorite restaurants, and they had a little bit of a challenge with the city and trying to get a liquor license, and then getting hit with some back taxes that was confusing for everybody. And unfortunately, they had to go out of business. Right? Things just aren't sticking. And we feel that sometimes again, you look to throw certain solutions at a problem to make sure it gets fixed, and it seems like the solution might be to increase taxes and and focus on collecting debts, right? And that is natural and look to be a healthy choice, but in my opinion, as business, you can cut your expenses or you can increase your revenue. Increase revenue a different way by attracting more businesses, and help them be, sustain themselves. Now, again, this might be unfair to say this because of the past year and a half of what we've gone through as far as the pandemic. However, this is a little trend that we see. Just like I was talking about as far as construction, when there's a lot of construction going on, businesses are going to suffer, right? Where do people park? Do people even want to deal with going through there? We had a team member driving through Lowell today, and she was like, "Oh, I got to think about which way I'm going to go because I know there's construction going on." So that's a big impact as far as construction, and businesses. And again, as far as the homeless problem, that has had a major impact as far as downtown businesses, right? People are kind of nervous to open businesses in those areas. So there's a waterfall effect as far as what's happening in that city. We know that they're working hard to make those changes. However, just from the outside coming in, we want to be honest and sometimes we're going to give you hardcore facts. Sometimes we're going to sprinkle our opinions in here. So that's our thoughts. All right, again, that's just our overview as far as some of the pros and cons as far as Lowell is concerned. Again, we're always conscious of time and making sure they're not too long and people aren't falling asleep watching the videos. So, if you're coming here, you're looking to relocate, you want to come visit, you're looking to come move, just reach out to us. We got new systems in place, new procedures in place to help everyone reaching out. We're grateful for everyone that's checking us out. So you have questions, we have answers. When it comes to Massachusetts, the biggest thing you got to remember, we've always got your back.